Welcome. It's Wednesday. Coming to you with a special whiteboard Wednesday training. Just made that up on the fly, but it is Wednesday, and I got a whiteboard behind me. So let's rock and roll. I'm channeling my golf, attire for wishing that it was warmer outside. But nonetheless, here's the topic for this. If you're joining me on Instagram or you're joining me on LinkedIn or YouTube or other platform, Facebook. I want to just hit on this topic, and this isn't going to be a long training. It's going to be a very specialized training. However, regarding what's possible for you heading into the next year, that we're going to talk about going bigger. And the way we're going to talk about this is from the framework of how you were created. And I'm going to I'll come out of the gates, right? This isn't a sermon, but it could be. God did not create you for realistic goals. When I say that, and I'm going to challenge anybody that says, hey, you know what? I do think that God created us realistically. And here's where I will argue you. If he did, then he wouldn't put a trigger in your brain that will allow you to not only think bigger, visualize bigger, but to go bigger. There's something called the Pygmalion effect. So I got it written over here. Pygmalion effect that showed, if you go look this up, it was based on a study by Rosenthal that showed that when higher expectations were put on students, the higher the expectation, the more they rose to the occasion. That's the Pygmalion effect. The same thing, you have it inside you, a trigger in your brain that when activated appropriately, you will go bigger. But mothers, fathers, teachers, preachers, societal norms, the conventional media, and maybe even your, public Rockefeller factory school education has led us into a place that it puts a ceiling on what we think is possible when we set goals, when we set our expectation. There was a study, one of my favorite books called The Expectation Effect. In this book, it goes study after study after study showing that those who thought things, who expected something to happen, it actually happened because the brain is wired that way. And so I just want to remind you, and why, if you're just joining me, whether platform you're on, if you're just joining me, I want to remind you, your brain has the capacity to go bigger. And so that's why I argue, if God put the ability for us to go bigger, then I'm going to argue right now, he did not create SMART goals. Because the two problems with SMART goals, well, I'll get into in a second. I'm going to show you exactly what to do instead. The last thing I'll say from the brain side, you have a reticular activating system at the base of the brain. And it actually involves the prefrontal cortex, the amygdala, and the hippocampus. But you've got this area that what psychologists call selective attention, when you put your mind on something, it's what you see. When my wife was pregnant for the first time, I saw so many pregnant women. Why? Because I was in tune to it. Were there more of them? No, it was just, I was in tune to it. Same thing if you're looking for a new car. If you're looking for a new car, you have your mind set on what that new car is. You see them everywhere on the street. Where were they before? Why are there so many of them? I know you've all done this. So it's called selective attention, that when you pay attention to something, things are happening all over. So my question is, what if you knew that your attention right now on small goals or SMART goals is why you keep achieving them? And if you just flipped the trigger in your brain, if you knew how to do that, which I'll show you, if you flip the trigger, all of a sudden you're starting to become aware of the path, the people, and the resources that were available to you. So here's why, again, my proof. Here's the proof. Let's look at this. Why God didn't create SMART goals. Here's the thing that I believe that God doesn't like about SMART goals. I like specific. I like measurable. I actually like time sensitive. Those things are good pieces of SMART goals. But here's where the rub happens. The rub happens is because I don't serve a God that is a God of realisticness. The God, if you look at Genesis 1:1, God created the heavens and the earth and then everything in it. That, when I look around, like I'm looking outside in Nashville, Tennessee, I'm looking at the green hills of Nashville, Tennessee. Well, they used to be green. They're a little bit gray right now. I don't think, wow, that was a God of realisticness. When I study, as a doctor, when I've studied the digestive tract, I don't think, wow, man, That's just realistic. That's logical that's the way that's built. No, that's not how it works. So why would we set realistic goals when we have a possibility in our brain to go bigger? And that's what I'm here to tell you. You have heading into 2024, there's an opportunity for you if you know how to capitalize on it. Here's what I believe, that achievable is the problem. Let's get achievable out of your way. And here's why. When you flip the trigger in your brain, there's a psychological trigger you can flip. It's a little bit uncomfortable because you don't know the pathways that you're going to go to the next level. You don't know them. You don't know how to achieve them. But that's the point. The point is when you flip this thing and you get it going in the way that you know you're capable of. Some of you right now are sitting on, you're only taking home a certain income because you've been led to believe that's all you're worthy of, or you've been led to believe that's all you can do. And if you tweak this one thing in your brain, the psychological trigger, it will allow you to actually start to change how much money you're taking home. And you may say, Dr. Dan, that sounds a little crazy. I've heard these before. This is this law of attraction secret. It's not that. It's not. I am not a secret guy or a law of attraction guy. I'm a guy that studies God's laws of health and healing, God's laws of health and achievement, God's laws of I say prosperity, but I'm not a prosperity gospel guy, right? It's like God's laws of wealth, accumulation and providing value to the world. And then my neuroscience background, I look at, does that make sense of the way we're wired? And when you study this, when you see achievable, part of it is if you are continually setting achievable goals, then in your mind, you know how to achieve them. That by definition is playing small. And I can show you that. The other part is, so I don't want achievable. I want attractive. I want you to set attractive goals, things that you really want, not what the world wants of you, not what you think that your mom wants of you, not what you think that would please the people in your life, what you really want. So we're changing achievable to attractive, and we're changing realistic to radical. That's the SMART goals I believe God created. Radical. How do I have proof of that? Because when you look at how you're designed and you look at how the brain is wired, it is wired to do radical things. It's already doing radical things, regardless of whether you think it does or doesn't. It is. It's the greatest supercomputer known to man. And so why I am very adamant about this is because Genesis 1:1 says God created the heavens and the earth. Genesis 1:26 said he created you, me, in his image. And by definition, that means that we are creative and we are a creator, and that we have the possibility to do the impossible, right? God moved mountains, but he gave us a shovel. We have an opportunity to move mountains in our lives, but we got to get rid of the achievable. We got to get rid of the realistic. And I believe that that's where society has led us down this path. And so this is for me, I get all fired up because I'm looking in 2024 to do the impossible. And I believe that you can too. And I'm going to show you how to do that. And one of the things that I am doing, which by the way, you may ask this one, 1 Corinthians 1:27, what's that one? What's that? That is, God made the simple things to confound the wise. You may be sitting there saying, that seems so simple. God made the simple things to confound the wise. God made the simple things to confound the wise. Maybe, and I'm going to ask you, it just may be that what if you're sitting on something that's a gold mine and you're so focused on being realistic and just looking for a 10 or 20% growth when God is saying, hey, step out of the boat. I have for you a 2, a 3, a 5, a 10x growth waiting for you, but you got to move. It's like when Abraham took Isaac up to sacrifice him, on the other side of the mountain was a lamb that God was already preparing. But see, he had to make the move. You got to make the move. You got to make the move. And when you make the move, right? Providence moves. The things come together that you could have never weaved together. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's not about smart or it's about the God smart, right? Which means radical shifts into 2024. And so one of the things I'm actually doing, this is the 20th, so you got 5 days till Christmas. Next week, I'm here. I'm with my family. I'm not going anywhere. I'm actually going to be doing a special boot camp to show you how to flip this one psychological trigger to go to the next level in 2024. That when you serve a God of impossible, then you know that he makes the impossible possible. And Why would that just be the case for somebody else? Or back in Jesus' day when he born in a manger, right? This little baby, like that's like not only impossible, it seems so radical. Why would he do that? Right? These three kings come and give and give, gifts. Why? Because that's the king, the baby, a king. It's impossible. But he wired you with the same DNA that he created the heavens and the earth. What you have at your disposal is an opportunity to do the impossible in 2024, whatever you think that is. And everybody's different. Whatever you think that is, there's a possibility to do the impossible. But I'm going to tell you, there's a neuroscientific trigger. There's a brain-based trigger. There's a psychological trigger that you can flip in your brain when you do this. This isn't about changing all your identity or your subconscious mind. Yes, those things can be a byproduct. But I'm going to tell you, there's a way that God designed you and your brain that when you can flip this trigger, the game changes. And that's why you can have a huge 2024. One, to me, that is moving in steps towards God and because of God, right? All for God and his glory. And most important, the way he designed you. My DNA, it's just like your DNA. It's just like the DNA from God. It's different than the creatures. He gave us dominion, but he made the simple things to confound the wise. You tell this to other people, like, that's crazy, I don't believe you. God made the simple things to confound the wise. Simple things. These are simple things that it's not about realisticness. It's about live a radical life. Let's have a radical future. Let's have a radical 2024. So for those of you, there's going to be a link. I'm going to post it right after this that are interested in the boot camp. It's super low barrier. It's like, so cost effective, be one of the greatest investments you make, super small investment. It's going to be huge dividends for you. So God bless. More from me. That's it. Whiteboard Wednesday with my fancy golf shirt, my, Hawaiian shirt, and hoping that I can get on a golf course someday, because in Nashville, we can't currently golf outside. God bless you. It's going to be a great 2024. Click the link or see the link below, either in the comments or somewhere around here. If you want to join me, check out the boot camp. More coming from me. God bless. We'll talk to you guys soon.